Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk here in the DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers YouTube channel. We are going to break down some of Broderick Jones's performance in the preseason opener against the Jaguars. I thought overall it was a pretty promising performance for Brod. It wasn't perfect, and we'll get into it here specifically with one rep. Something that's still a little alarming, but overall, I thought Brod was really, really good on this. And so let's get into this. I think I have like 5 or 6 reps from this. He only played 2 series, so there's not like there's a whole bunch of tape to go through. First play here, Steelers are running a quick pass here to the outside. Scotty Miller moves in motion, and this is just a quick pass to the outside. Now, we're looking at Brod here, right? Okay, so the one thing that you want to see with a pass like this, knowing that the ball is going immediately out this way, right? Typical pass protection, you get like this foot, kicks back, and you want to like kind of backpedal along as this guy tries to bend around the edge. That's not what you want to do here. You want to be the aggressor. You want to attack that guy because you don't want him possibly getting in the throwing lane. And so that's what I really liked to see from Brod here was the detail. Yes, that back foot goes back first, but it doesn't kick back like a typical pass pro rep. It's that foot there, he anchors with it, and then it's a step forward, and then it's attacking and making sure that Hines Allen does not get in the way to get a hand up so that Rudolph can make that throw. So when we're talking about where Broderick needs to improve, we're talking about not just technique and pass protection, but it's also paying attention to details and making sure that you're executing what you need to do in terms of your details so that the play can be properly executed. This is exactly what he needs to do. He executes it well, and plays like these will be overlooked, but it's important for when we're talking about the development of a first round tackle. This is really important stuff, and this is against a starter in Hines Allen, right? Like this is not like some third string guy that has no chance of making the roster. It's really, really important that he gets this done, and he does it. These type of plays are going to be overlooked. You're not going to think twice about it when you watch on Sundays. But that's a really important rep for Brod, paying attention to detail, executing it well. If Hines Allen were to have gotten a hand on it, a lot of time people will be like, oh, well, he just made a really good play. No, Brod doesn't even let him get into the passing lane to even make a play because he's the aggressor and he gets out in front and makes sure that he cuts that off, even in that little very like that fraction of a second that Mason Rudolph's going to have the ball in his hand. So good stuff from Brod there. We got a full-blown pass pro rep here, and you can see this is what I'm talking about when you're talking about this initial back pedal. And really good stuff here. Again, this is another pass that ends up going to the outside, but this is not that type of play, right? We're not talking about having to make sure that you're the aggressor and getting out in front. Obviously, Rudolph's first read is not that pass to the outside. But let's look at Brod here. Let's look at the hand usage. So Brod is one thing that, from what I've talked with a couple of scouts and coaches and what they're looking for, you want to be the one who gets hands on the guy first. You don't want to be the guy. You don't want the edge rusher to be the guy who gets their hand on you and then you're having to counter. You want to be the guy that makes the edge rusher counter. And so Brod here, he's, the footwork is good to get to the outside. And then he gets his hands on Hines Allen first. Now, he bats, Hines Allen bats the hands down. But Brod is able to keep that right arm on the shoulder right there while continuing to move, stays in front of him. That is a phenomenal pass rep right there, or pass pro rep right there. Stays with him stays with him while moving laterally. Fights through the Hines Allen slapping the hands down. Keeps engaged. Doesn't ever let Hines Allen go. Isn't holding him. Continues to move with him. This is good stuff right here. This is a clean pass pro rep, and even if Rudolph were to have held on to that ball longer, I mean, they're still engaged. It's still locked up. This is what you want to see from a left tackle. These are the kind of pass pro reps you want to see from a left tackle. So good stuff there from Brod too. So we're doing good so far. I believe this is the touchdown pass to Darnell Washington, if I'm not mistaken. No, it is not. Okay. So, okay. I remember why I have this playing here. Okay, so one thing about Brod is that he would, like last year, there are a lot of times in which he would almost look a little lost out there. Like he didn't quite know what his assignment was, what he was doing. You could put that on the player, you could put that on the coaching staff, whatever, but that was, the tape is the tape. He's clearly not confident in where he's going, what he's doing. Here, clearly he's expecting 58, which is Smoot, to rush. And he's not initially there. Darnell is trying to go out for the pass, and they end up kind of colliding there. And so Brod is waiting there, but in the meantime, when he first doesn't see the guy, he's at least checking here. He's checking in 93, making sure that Spence is going to have him. He has him. Okay, cool. Now if 58 comes, I'm ready to go. And that's exactly what happens. He's ready to go. Stands him up. Now, I don't necessarily want to see the being pushed back like that. Either way, it's still a pretty good rep. And it's what I liked about this rep was the awareness on Brod's part. It's seeing that 58 wasn't initially coming because of that contact right there. It's checking, making sure that this guy right here is taken care of, while also keeping eyes like, okay, if 58's going to come, I'm ready for him. It's not just, 58's not coming, I'm just going to double this guy and make sure that we're good to go there. No, it's making sure, hey, he's taken care of. I'm going to, look out for my teammate, but I'm also going to make sure, hey, if 58's going to be coming, I'm going to be ready for him. And there we go. So another good rep from Brod. It's good stuff, man. This is the touchdown to Darnell Washington. And again, when we're talking, we're going to be, Brod's going to be left on an island here. Hines Allen is back out there. Both Connor Hayward and Darnell Washington obviously go out for passes. So Broderick is, going to be in this. Now, what I like from the initial, getting out of the stance here, that back foot, and then as he's backpedaling, the legs stay wide. The feet stay wide. You want to have a wide base. Feet get a little narrow there. And when you're talking about footwork here, let's just take a look. Troy Fautanu over here and coming out of college, was already more polished in pass protection than Broderick Jones was when he was coming out of Georgia. And then just take a look over here at the footwork. Now, feet get a little narrow there, but how quickly he gets back to a wide base as he continues. Fautanu is moving so smooth. Brod's is a little bit more, it's kind of giddy-uppy, and that's my own little term. It's not as smooth. The footwork is not as smooth. Now, I think it's still good for Brod to get, again, this first step back, keeping that wide base. That, to me, is when we're talking about really like getting down to the bones of like the technique and the mechanics of all this stuff. Good first steps here. Gets a little narrow there, but, there's also no contact, so it's not going to hurt you too bad. The one reason why you don't want to ever get your feet this narrow is if Hines Allen were bull rushing him at that point, it's over. Like, he'd get flattened. You have no way to keep leverage. You want to keep your base as wide as possible at all times. Now, the one thing that Brod has done in training camp, or when he came to training camp, was he lost a lot of weight. He says he's over 300 pounds. Like I think he said like during OTAs he was at like a 305 or something like that. I have a hard time believing he's over 300 pounds. Like, he might be right at 3 bills, but I have a hard time believing it. What I do know is that Darnell Washington is bigger than him, for sure. He is definitely, like, heavier than Brod is. But when you have that much weight off, you are able to move a little easier, and so he moves easier here. I don't like the ducking the head like this, and a lot of coaches don't, because you lose your vision. You lose your ability to read and react. And if you lose this rep here like that, like if you lose this rep, like if he spins to the inside, if he does a ghost move and continues to go to the outside, you've lost. Like this rep here, whenever you bury your head in like that, you're kind of, the best way to put it, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. You're pretty much like banking on the fact that like first contact is going to get you a win. It doesn't allow you the ability to recover from that. That's something that Fautanu does really well. Even if he initially loses, his footwork and his technique allow him to recover, along with great athleticism, allow him to recover a lot better. And that's what really good tackles do. It's not just hoping that you're in the right position and you're going to be able, because you're big and strong, to be able to just do something like this, take on that contact, and there you go. Because if he loses that, if he does this and he loses at any point, there's zero chance for recovery. Zero. Now, that's not what happens here. Hines Allen engages. He tries to push him. Brod gets pushed back a little bit, but I like this. Like, this initial pushback is there, but he gets this right foot down. Now, the ball's out by this time, so it's all well and good anyway. But he gets his right foot back down, and then he gets the left foot back down, and he kind of anchors himself a little bit more there. So that's a good way to recover when getting initially pushed back. So that, again, is encouraging. But I'm telling you right now, coaches don't like this move right there. They don't like that. Because, again, a lot of the time, if you lose at that point, you cannot recover. So, something to watch moving forward. Also, this dude's a cheat code, man. Like, that might be a whole nother chalk talk. And there might not even be many plays from it. But this dude is, I don't know how they don't utilize him more this year. He's looked insane throughout preseason and training camp. All right, Brod. We're here left side facing Smoot. I think this is the sack. Yeah, I have this here. So we got 2 more reps to go through. Smoot moves to the inside. Spence picks him up. I don't know what Brod is looking for here in terms of like who else could be coming. I'd like to see him continue to engage here. Instead of just, okay, he's moving to the inside, I'll pass him off to Spence. Maybe he thinks somebody else is coming. Now, some people might be like, and I don't know who, but some people might be like, hey, this is allowed by Brod because he, gives him up first and then Spence loses. I can't let the play go the entire time because the NFL will block the video. But Mason Rudolph holds onto this ball for way too long. We're probably more than 5 seconds. Like, if I were to actually run it, it's probably more than 5 seconds. And this right here, you can't see from this angle, but the sideline view, Roman Wilson is open downfield. And he kind of wants to throw it, and he doesn't. He decides not to. Just chuck it at that point. If it's incomplete, it's incomplete. He was open. Maybe the safety, closes in enough time. Who knows? But chuck it. It's better to throw an incomplete pass that stands no chance of getting caught than to do what he does here, and that's just stand there, nothing, and then get sacked. So I put this on here because, yes, it is technically a sack, and yes, it is the guy that was initially Brod's. This is not on the tackle. This is not on the offensive lineman whatsoever. This is on the quarterback. 1,000% this is on Mason Rudolph. And I think he'll tell you the same thing. You cannot hold on to the ball, stand in the pocket for 5+ seconds and expect to not get hit. You just can't. If the offensive line can give you 3 to 3.5 seconds standing in the pocket, they've done their job. Period. I mean, there's no there's no other argument to that. All right. Final play here. This is kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to some alarming things here. 58 Smoot, he's going to come around over here. Ball snapped. He comes. And again, wide base, everything's good so far. But if you've noticed, a lot of these reps that he's faced so far have been, there haven't been a lot of really dynamic pass rush moves. Not a lot of, no ghost moves, swim, spins, nothing like overly crazy. It's been pretty much just initiating contact, trying to fight through contact, some hand fighting kind of stuff. But listen, 58 here slaps the left hand away and then actually slaps both hands away. Slaps both hands away and just goes right around him. This is bad. That's bad. That's the kind of stuff. And again, I don't know why and how the head snaps down, and you can kind of see it right here. Watch his head. I don't know if this is the same move he was doing before, or if that's just because the hands are being thrown down so his head goes down with it. Either way, this is not a good rep. This is losing big time. Now, it doesn't matter because the ball comes out, but that is never a posture you want to see your offensive lineman be in right here with the edge rusher going around you. So it wasn't perfect. This was not a perfect game for Broderick Jones. But overall, when we're talking how he looked, entire body of work from the game, encouraging. For sure. Some good reps. Some, didn't get blown up. And this was really one, really bad rep. Because obviously these weren't all of his pass pro reps from this game, but I can tell you from the other ones that were there, very similar to the rest of this video. Very similar to the rest of the clips. Stayed in front of guys, stayed anchored, didn't lose, gave the quarterback plenty of time to make a pass, to make his reads, make the throw. Did a good job. One really bad rep. And it's the kind of reps that whenever he would lose in the past, that's what they looked like. So just something to watch moving forward. There's still 2 preseason games to go. But in terms of overall body of work, encouraging step forward for Broderick Jones. So that's what this is. Take it. Continue to move forward with it. He had some good days. I'd say final 5 practices of training camp were also very encouraging for him. So I think he's trending in the right direction. But recording this on August 13th, there's still a long way to go before the season starts. So we'll see. Anyway, catch you guys on the Flippity Flip. See you later.